Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Sharice, and as you guys can tell from the title of the video, this is my first trimester recap video. Y'all, I am so just grateful and happy to be able to film this video. At the time of this video, I am in my third trimester. Here is the bump. I am 28 weeks at the time of filming this video, and I'm just gonna talk to you guys about week 1 through 12 of the whole first trimester and what I was experiencing and what it was like. If you're new to my channel, like I said, I'm Sharice and I am married. I'm in my late 20s. I make Christian faith lifestyle content. Sometimes I make sit down videos. Sometimes I'll do vlogs, just whatever the Lord tells me to do. And now, a new addition to my channel, we're gonna be doing some mom content, some pregnancy content. I'm so excited. I'm just so grateful and I feel so blessed. Just thank you, God, for this. So first trimester, around week 3 or week 2, I started taking pregnancy tests because I was feeling like nauseous and I feel like I was feeling like tender breasts, but like I said, that seems like a little early to be pregnant, and the tests were saying negative. I actually took like a total of 2 tests that said negative, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it's this medicine I'm taking, or maybe it's like vitamins, like maybe something's making me nauseous, maybe it's dairy. I was trying to like figure out like why I felt a little different because the tests were saying negative. And then actually like 2 days after my period, I took a test and it said positive. And oh my goodness, me and my husband were in shock. We were so happy, but we were also like, what? Like positive? Like really? Like, you know, just so happy. And we just were just so grateful. So it was so early and we hadn't gone to the doctor yet. We actually had been working with a fertility clinic, and we hadn't like started any like medicine other than some like thyroid medicine. So we got pregnant naturally by the grace of God, and we were just like, oh my goodness. So we ended up calling the doctor, and she told me that she would do an ultrasound at 8 weeks. So that means I had to wait like 4 weeks because I thought I was probably like 4 or 5 weeks at the time. So I was like, okay, I can wait. So we were like, we just decided to wait. We were like, we'll tell our parents, we'll tell, you know, close people after we get the confirmation at the doctor. But literally a week later, after like my lunch break, I was actually on my way back from picking up some food. It was 2 o'clock. I have not eaten yet. I ate breakfast, but I had not eaten lunch yet. I fainted in the parking lot, and thankfully I didn't hit the ground. My husband caught me before I could hit the ground, but I like got out the car and I blacked out. And that was like nerve-wracking for both of us because it's like we just found out we're pregnant and I fainted. So I ended up calling my boss to tell her like, hey, I'm not going to be able to come back in the office today. I'm headed to the emergency room because I fainted and I'm pregnant. And she was like, oh, okay. So we went to the emergency room. They confirmed via ultrasound. They had to do like a vaginal ultrasound that I am pregnant. They said that it was too early for them to like really determine how far along I am. They said they felt like I was like maybe a week behind what I thought I was. And I was like, okay. So maybe I'm like not 4, almost 5. I must be like 3, almost 4 weeks. But she was like, it's early, but we can tell that there is like a pregnancy. And she said that they took my blood pressure. She said that I likely fainted because of like the surge of hormones, the lack of eating lunch, the sudden movement. It just caused me to kind of like black out a little bit. So we ended up calling our moms while we were at the hospital, and Zolan's mom, my mother-in-law, my husband's mom, came to the doctor and sat with us, and we told her like, hey, we're pregnant. This is not how we wanted to tell y'all, but we just want to, my health is, it didn't want to be a concern, so we ended up telling them. So fast forward a little bit to week 6. Around week 6, I started spotting a little bit. Like the nausea started pumping up a little bit. I had sore, tender breasts, but I also started spotting, and I started feeling like intense, like pelvic pressure. And that made me nervous because I did not know what was going on. I did not know what was causing the spotting. Of course, you Google, and I talked to the doctor. They said it could be implantation bleeding. They said it could be just sensitivity down there. It could just be just some things. And, you know, spotting when pregnant, like I said, it can be normal, but it also could be abnormal. So I remember having like to fight against anxiety, and I remember having to just pray and ask God to, you know, help me understand what's going on and help me get through it. And God gave me so many scriptures to just renew my mind, to tell me that everything is okay. So around week 7, this is when the nausea amped up, and I think I threw up for the first time around week 7. I must have had some type of dairy or something, because even though I had like continuous nausea, throwing up was not that frequent. I never threw up in the morning, so it wasn't necessarily like morning sickness. It was more of like if I ate something that did not agree with our baby, I would throw up. If I ate something that did not agree with my body, I would throw up. And I threw up a total of like 10 or 11 times throughout the whole first trimester. So it might be like, I could go like a whole week without throwing up, and then I could have a week where I threw up like 3 times. And I think that the week that I threw up 3 times was in my 9th week. My between like 8 and 9, that was like the most like throwing up, upset stomach week. Around like week 7 and 8, I started having like flu-like symptoms. Mind you, Google tells you all of this is normal. Between the pressure, the bleeding, the symptoms, like the throwing, like all that, you're just gonna hear normal, normal, normal. But I was Googling so much to the point where I felt like I had to stop going straight to Reddit and Google, because instead of me just trusting God that everything's okay, I'm reading what other women have to say. So my husband was like, you need to start reading all this stuff, like, because you're Googling every little symptom and you're determining our baby's health based off of what some other woman said. So I was like, you're right, let me just take a step back. So I really had to take a step back from just Googling so much, because I don't know, I was just feeling nauseous and stuff. I'd be like, is this normal? Is this normal? Is this normal? So when we had our first ultrasound with the doctor, it was a great ultrasound, don't get me wrong. But I went in thinking I was further along than what I was. Because remember the what's it called? The emergency room, they couldn't tell me my exact day. They were like, it's kind of too early for us to pinpoint your exact day. So they were just going off of my like last menstrual cycle. Turns out I was measuring like 2 days behind, which is not bad. It's pretty normal to measure 2 days behind. But I just wanted to make sure everything was developing properly, because like, I didn't want to, like, every day felt like a milestone for me. So when I felt like I was being pulled back 2 days, I was like, oh my gosh, 2 days behind, you know, but it was fine. But that was pretty much my first trimester. It's just mind renewal, fighting against anxiety. We ended up telling, like I said, just a couple people, like his employer, my employer, couple close friends. We didn't necessarily wait until after the first trimester to tell people. We waited until after the first trimester to do like a whole announcement, but a few people knew. Like I said, I threw up like 10 or 11 times. I had nausea. I had sore, tender breasts the entire time. And I had bloating, like very intense bloating, to the point where I felt like I looked like I was in my 2nd trimester, but people were telling me they couldn't tell I was pregnant. But to me, my body felt like it was going through a lot of changes. But that was my first trimester. If you like this video and you want to know what my 2nd trimester was like, stay tuned and I will be filming part 2 next.